My parents looked me in the eye at dinner and said, "Nobody wants your money or you." My sister nodded in agreement. 3 weeks later, I discovered they'd stolen a $600,000 inheritance from me. And I had proof. If you've ever been the scapegoat in your family, hit subscribe. This is the story of how I fought back and won. My name is Hannah. I'm 28 years old, and I work as a mechanical tech. The hours are long, the pay is decent, and for most of my life, my job has been the one thing I could count on. My family? Not so much. I walked into my parents' house that evening with a small flicker of hope in my chest. Maybe this dinner would be different. Maybe we could finally start fixing the distance that had been growing between us for years. The table was set nicely, candles lit, my mom's famous roast in the center, steam rising from the platter. It looked warm. It looked like a family. For a moment, I let myself believe I belonged there. But the warmth didn't last. It started when my dad asked how work was going. I told him about my recent promotion, something I was actually proud of. I thought he might smile, maybe even congratulate me. Instead, he laughed, sharp and mean, like I'd said something ridiculous. My mom joined in, shaking her head while cutting her food. "That little promotion? Don't get too excited, Hannah. You've never been the successful type." Before I could even process that, my sister Andrea, perfect Andrea with her perfect life, spoke up. "I told them not to get too impressed," she said, smirking. "It's probably temporary. They promote people like you just to fill quotas. People like you." The words stung more than I expected, as if I hadn't worked for every single thing I had. I tried to keep calm, swallowed my hurt, asked why they were being so harsh. That's when my dad leaned back in his chair, looked me dead in the eye, and said the words that cracked something inside me. "Nobody wants your money or you. Not now. Not ever." My fork slipped from my hand and clattered against the plate. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. And Andrea, who used to share a bedroom with me, who I once protected from nightmares, just nodded, like he was simply stating a fact everyone already knew. My heart didn't break. It went quiet. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I simply stood up, pushed my chair back slowly, and walked out while they kept talking like losing me meant nothing at all. But as the cold air hit my face outside, something inside me clicked into place. I was done begging for scraps of love from people who'd never valued me. I didn't know it yet, but that dinner was about to change everything. 3 weeks later, I received a letter that made my hands shake. It was from Arthur Green, an attorney handling my late Aunt Virginia's estate. I opened it expecting some generic legal notice about paperwork or final accounts being settled. Instead, I found something that made my stomach drop and my vision blur. Virginia had left me a house and $600,000 in savings. 4 years, my parents had told me Virginia died broke, that there was nothing for anyone, that she'd spent everything on medical bills before she passed. I'd believed them. I'd mourned not just her loss, but the false reality they'd painted for me. But now, holding this letter with trembling hands, I realized everything was a lie. My parents hadn't just been emotionally cruel. They'd been hiding my inheritance, actively trying to steal it. The attorney explained it carefully, his voice serious, and measured over the phone when I called. "Your parents intercepted the original inheritance letter 2 years ago," Arthur said. "They forged your signature on documents that declined the inheritance. Then they attempted to claim the house and funds for themselves." I sat down hard on my couch, feeling dizzy and sick. "But there were inconsistencies in the paperwork," he continued. "The signatures didn't quite match. The dates didn't line up properly. That's why I reached out to you directly instead of going through them. Something didn't add up. My parents had committed fraud, financial theft, against their own daughter, and they'd almost gotten away with it. I didn't call them. I didn't confront them. Not yet. Instead, I followed Arthur's advice. Build your case first. Let them show their hand. Gather everything you can. Then act." I started digging through everything I had. Old emails I'd saved over the years. Bank statements. Any document that seemed even slightly suspicious. I found emails where my parents tried to change account information at Virginia's bank, claiming they were acting on my behalf. I found forms with obviously forged signatures, my name written in handwriting that looked similar to mine but wasn't quite right. I found letters they'd written to the estate attorney, designed to mislead everyone about my involvement and my wishes. Each discovery left a bitter taste in my mouth, but it also made me stronger. They'd been planning this for 2 years, deliberately, systematically, carefully, and I was going to prove every bit of it. I moved into Virginia's house, my house now. The place still smelled faintly of her perfume, a light floral scent that clung to the curtains and furniture. As I unpacked boxes in the attic, I found more of her belongings than I'd expected. Inside dusty cardboard boxes were letters she'd written about me over the years. Letters I'd never seen, calling me my brave girl, saying I'd make her proud one day, telling friends and family how much she believed in me. There were photos from my childhood visits, me smiling on her porch, helping her in the garden, sitting at her kitchen table doing homework. Birthday cards she'd sent that had somehow never reached me. Small gifts wrapped and labeled with my name, stored away like she'd been waiting for the right moment. My parents had told me Virginia was cold and distant, that she didn't care about me, that I'd disappointed her. But here was the truth, hidden in boxes in her attic. Virginia had loved me deeply, more than my own parents ever had. I sat on the dusty floor of her house, my house, and cried, not from sadness, but from a strange mixture of grief and determination. I would honor Virginia's memory, and I would make my parents pay for what they tried to do. A few days later, my phone started ringing constantly. My parents, who'd been distant and cold for years, suddenly couldn't stop calling, multiple times a day, leaving voicemails when I didn't answer immediately. "Hannah, sweetheart, we just want to make sure you're okay," my mom said, her voice dripping with fake concern that made my skin crawl. My dad added in another call, "We only want what's best for you. You know we love you. We're worried about you." It was so obvious it almost made me laugh. They were panicking. Their plan had failed, and now they were trying to charm me into cooperating. Then came Andrea's texts, one after another. "Family unity is important, Hannah. We all just want to resolve this like adults. Don't let money ruin our relationship. Mom and Dad are really worried about you." Every word was carefully chosen. Every message is laced with manipulation. I decided to play along. I responded politely to calls and texts, keeping my voice calm and sweet, acting like the compliant, forgiving daughter they thought I was. All the while, I had my phone recording every single conversation. "If you could just sign a few things," my dad suggested casually during one call. "It would make this so much easier for everyone. Just some paperwork to settle the estate properly. We just want the family to be together," my mom added during another call, guilt dripping from every word. "Virginia would have wanted us all to get along. It's for your own good, sweetheart." Andrea sent messages pressuring me to do the right thing and think about the family. I captured it all. Every manipulation attempt, every guilt trip, every carefully worded lie. Their desperation made them sloppy, and their sloppiness gave me exactly what I needed. Then came the call that changed everything and showed me just how deep the betrayal went. A contractor named Logan called me one afternoon, his voice confused and apologetic. "Ms. Hannah, I just wanted to confirm the renovation contract for Virginia's house. It's in your name, but someone else approved it. I wanted to make sure everything was legitimate before we started the work." I froze, my coffee cup halfway to my mouth. "What renovation contract?" "The one for $75,000, he said. "Kitchen remodel, new floors, updated bathrooms, new fixtures throughout. The signature looks like yours, but the email address was different, so I thought I should double-check." My stomach dropped like a stone. "Andrea," I asked Logan to send me the paperwork immediately. When it arrived in my inbox minutes later, I opened the PDF with shaking hands. There it was, my signature forged. Not perfectly, but close enough that someone might believe it. A massive renovation contract that would have given Andrea control of my house and let her profit from it when it sold. She planned this in secret, set it all up. assumed I'd never find out. This wasn't just greed. This was calculated, deliberate betrayal. I called Logan back immediately, my voice steady despite the rage burning in my chest. I did not approve his contract. I am the legal owner of his property. Put everything on hold immediately and send me all the documentation. Then I added the forged contract to my growing pile of evidence. My sister hadn't just stood by while my parents stole from me. She'd been stealing too. Arthur called me a week later. There's a formal mediation scheduled to resolve the estate. It's your chance to present everything you've gathered. I spent the next few days preparing like I was going to trial, organizing every piece of evidence into clear categories. Forged documents in one folder, emails in another, recordings labeled and timestamped. The renovation contract Andrea had faked, printed and highlighted. I wrote notes to myself on index cards. Stay calm. Let them speak first. Let their arrogance show. Let them bury themselves. When mediation day arrived, I dressed simply but confidently. Black pants, white blouse, minimal jewelry. Professional. Seriously. I walked into the conference room, carrying my folder of proof like it was a weapon. My parents and Andrea were already there, sitting on one side of the long table. Smiling. Relaxed. Smug. They thought they'd already won. Arthur opened the session, his voice formal and professional, explaining the purpose, to clarify and resolve the inheritance situation regarding Virginia Green's estate. My parents immediately started talking, painting themselves as the wronged parties, claiming they had rights to the house, speaking over each other in their rush to control the narrative. "Hannah, you need to understand," my dad said, his voice sharp and authoritative. "We have legal standing here. Virginia's wishes don't matter if we can prove family entitlement. We took care of her. We deserve compensation." My mom nodded, her tone soft but manipulative. "We're not trying to hurt you, sweetheart. We just want what's fair for everyone. You have to think about the whole family." Andrea leaned forward, her eyes hard despite her gentle voice. "Honestly, Hannah, it's ridiculous to act like you're the only one who matters here. The house and savings should be shared among all of us. It's what Virginia would have wanted." I listened quietly, letting them talk, letting them feel confident and in control. Then Arthur leaned toward me and whispered, "Now." I took a deep breath and met my father's eyes. "I have all the evidence," I said calmly, clearly. "Every forgery, every fraud attempt, every manipulation, every lie you've told for 2 years. Should I show it?" Their faces froze. The color drained from my mother's cheeks. Andrea's confident smile flickered and died. I began laying out the proof, one piece at a time. The intercepted inheritance letter from 2 years ago. The forged signature where they declined the inheritance on my behalf. Emails showing their attempts to reroute funds and change account information. Screenshots of bank attempts to access Virginia's accounts. Recordings of conversations where they pressured me to sign away my rights. And finally, Andrea's forged renovation contract for $75,000. The mediator leaned forward, taking detailed notes, his expression growing darker with each revelation. As the evidence piled up on the table, cracks appeared in their united front. My dad turned on Andrea, his voice rising. "You forged the renovation contract. You did this behind our backs. This makes us all look guilty." Andrea shot back, her composure shattering. "Don't blame me. Mom knew about the intercepted letters from the beginning. She probably encouraged all of it. I learned from watching both of you." My mom gasped, her hand flying to her chest. She tried one last guilt trip, her voice breaking. "Hannah, please. We only wanted to protect the family. Don't throw everything away over misunderstandings and paperwork." I stayed calm, didn't raise my voice. Just let the evidence speak for itself. The mediator asked questions. Clear, direct questions about dates and signatures and intentions. Every answer they gave confirmed what I already knew. My parents and sister had committed fraud. Systematic, deliberate fraud. And now it was on the official record, documented and witnessed. The mediator summarized in a grave voice, "Miss Hannah's rights to Virginia Green's estate are legally secured and uncontested. The documented fraud attempts will be reported to the appropriate authorities for investigation. For the first time in my life, I felt true, deep relief. Their schemes, their lies, their greed, all exposed in an official setting. And there was nothing they could do about it. The next day, they showed up at my house. Desperate, panicked, unannounced. I watched from the window as they climbed out of the car, their faces drawn and anxious. "Hannah, please," my dad said when I opened the door, his voice actually trembling. "Just hear us out. Just give us 5 minutes." My mom had tears streaming down her face. Real or fake, I couldn't tell anymore. "We just want to talk. To make things right. We made mistakes, but we're still family." Andrea stood behind them, her arms crossed, her voice sharp and accusing. "You've ruined the family's future, Hannah. Don't you see what you're doing? You're tearing us apart over money." I felt the familiar sting. The old guilt is trying to creep back in. The memories of a lifetime of being blamed and belittled, of being told I was the problem. But my voice stayed steady. "I'm done," I said quietly but firmly. "I can't keep pretending there's a family here when everything you've done proves there isn't. You didn't just hurt me once. You planned to rob me for 2 years. You forged legal documents. You lied to lawyers. You tried to steal everything Aunt Virginia wanted me to have. This is the last time I let you control me or make me feel guilty for protecting myself." I closed the door before they could respond. The slam felt like a final punctuation mark on a chapter of my life that was finally ending. Following Arthur's advice, I changed the locks that same afternoon, updated my phone number and email address, reported the fraud attempts to authorities, providing every piece of evidence I'd gathered. Their deceit was now fully documented with law enforcement, and I was finally truly free. Over the next few months, I restored Virginia's house, painted walls in soft colors that made me feel calm, fixed creaking floors, planted flowers in the garden, roses and lavender, her favorites. Neighbors stopped by, sharing stories about Virginia I'd never heard. "Your aunt was so proud of you," one elderly woman told me, her eyes soft with memory. "She always said you had her spirit, strong and kind." Another neighbor brought me a handwritten recipe book Virginia had shared with the community. "She talked about you all the time, said you were going to do great things." Standing in the living room one evening, sunlight streaming through clean windows, I made a promise to myself. I would never again beg for love from people who chose not to give it. I would protect my peace, cherish those who cared, and live on my own terms. For the first time in my life, I understood what it meant to be truly free. And in that freedom, I finally felt at home. Some people will say I should have forgiven them, that family is family. But I learned something important. You don't owe people access to what you've built when they spent years trying to destroy you. My parents and sister tried to steal $600,000 from me. They forged documents, lied for years, and showed zero remorse until they got caught. Cutting them off wasn't cruelty. It was survival. And I'd make that choice every single time. Here's my honest take on Hannah's story. Her parents told her, "Nobody wants you at dinner," then literally tried to steal $600,000 from her by forging her signature. That's not just emotional abuse, that's financial fraud. And when she caught them, they blamed each other and tried to guilt-trip her. Hannah didn't destroy her family. They destroyed themselves through greed and betrayal. Recording their manipulation attempts and presenting evidence at mediation, that's not revenge. That's justice. Was she right to cut them off? Absolutely. If this story resonated with you, hit like and subscribe. Comment. Would you have done the same? See you in the next one.